All right, students, welcome to another edition of Leading Ladies. I am super excited because we have a beauty entrepreneur that is on with us today. Leanna, Leanna. Okay, wait, that's my new rap song, y'all. Okay, I think I got a new rap song. Um, but Leanna, I just want to make sure you know how
Yes.
often Anna has that thing, you all. So Leanna is
Yeah.
multi-certified professional lash and brow artist. She empowers all that are around her with beauty. As you can see, you all just look at all of this beautifulness that the universe put together. She specializes in healthy lash growth, stunning eyebrows, and expert body waxing with a passion for maintaining and enhancing the health of your lashes. Okay. And she also creates clean, glamorous looks that brings your vision of beauty to life. Okay. All right. Welcome. Thank you so much for being on Leading Ladies.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes. So why don't we start off with you just telling us a little bit about your entrepreneurship journey? No, let's start here. What were you passionate about as a child? And is it aligning with your entrepreneurship venture? So let's start off with baby Lee.
I definitely would say that what I was passionate about is aligning with what I am doing now. I was definitely into like beauty, fashion. This is gonna sound crazy, but when I was little, I was like, I'm gonna be a video vixen when I grow up. I wanted to be
Okay.
like
Especially,
like
did you grow
this
up in
like
Miami?
glamour girl.
Did
I
you grow
didn't
up?
actually. I grew
Oh,
up in
okay.
Richmond, Virginia.
Okay. Because in the early 2000s, I don't want to say I was a video girl student because I can't twerk that well. I can't do those things. So luckily I was able to get into a couture market, but Miami was like the place.
Ooh.
Yes, Miami was the place for, what you want, what you
Yeah,
aspire
yeah.
to. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was like so into like all like just the glamour life. So I feel like now that I am in the beauty industry and like empowering women around me, I am just living my purpose and my dream that I dreamt when I was a little kid.
Okay,
Thankfully.
awesome. So you are doing your job. You are in alignment with what you were designed and built to do. So tell us about that journey. So you were always into glamour and beauty.
Mhm.
So how did that manifest into a business?
Well, I've always been a hard worker. I am the oldest of six kids, and
Mhm.
we're all really, really close in age, and I had a lot of responsibility. So I had to start working when I was like 13 and like start helping pay rent and bills and stuff, which I think was okay. At the end of the day, I'm like, it made me the person that I am today. But what I did was like, I put a lot of hard work and the best of me into these companies and jobs that I worked for. And it just got to the point where I was like, okay, there's got to be something where I can be happy and I also put the best of me into myself. So during COVID actually is when I thought
Wow.
of the
Okay, no.
business.
Yes. So you're a COVID. I think they have a name for it. I wish I knew it, but a lot of entrepreneurs came out
Mhm.
of COVID. Okay.
Yes. So it was just like I was working for a corporate company and like a lot of things were changing. And I had a really, really good conversation with another employee who actually had just started her own business. And that conversation was just so inspiring. Literally, the next day, I was like, okay, like I'm going to go into lashing. I always wanted to do it. I signed up for a class. And then after that, now we're here. Doing a good business, thankfully. I'm so happy that I took that leap.
Wow. A lot of people are scared to take that leap. And can I call you
Hmm.
Lee? Because I'm
Yeah,
feeling
of
guilty about
course.
Anna Park. It's making me hesitate. I want to be
No,
free.
no.
Can I be
Lee
free
is
and call
good.
you Lee?
Everybody calls
Okay.
me Lee. That's perfect.
Okay. Perfect. A lot of people, Lee, are afraid to lean into that intuition or afraid to take that step into
Yeah,
entrepreneurship because there's no net. At
of
least
course.
with a corporate job, you're getting that
Hmm.
paycheck 2 weeks.
Oh my
Even
gosh,
though
yes.
it's an illusional net because they can drop you at any time or fire you at any time,
Hmm.
you have at least some kind of stability.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah. So what made you, even though you did get that inspirational talk, what in your gut said, you know what, man, I'm just gonna do it, because a lot of people, they're just on the sideline. They have all of these things in their head,
Yeah,
but they're just afraid
of
because
course. And
yes.
and it's a natural feeling like to feel that way, of course, when something's new, it's very overwhelming, especially when you've been thinking about it for a long time and you're like, where do I even start? But I would just say I had been thinking about it for years, and there had been moments where I was like, you know what? Like, I've taken on so many leadership roles in the companies that I've worked for, and I'm like, I can do this for myself. Like, even though it was scary when COVID happened, it just like was just like a slap in the face. Um, with what was happening in the company. So I was like, I need to start something for myself. And eventually, just to fast forward the story a little bit, with that company, I did get into kind of like it was called a redeployment program, but basically my role was getting expired. So it was either choose another role within the company or go after my business and put my all into it and grow it. Because
Wow.
if I never would have left that company, I would have never been as successful as I am today.
hmm And it reminds me of when I left my corporate job 15 years ago. Is it 15 years ago? 15 years ago. Yeah. Um, I didn't want to die on my knees. I didn't
Mhm.
want to die.
Mhm.
I wanted to die with my soul being like proud.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
even if I failed, I wanted to at least say I had enough courage. You get what I'm saying? To listen
Right.
to my
Yeah.
soul and at least bet on me. I wanted to bet on
Exactly.
me and see
Mhm.
how it turned out. And so I think for me, from my perspective, that's what I would tell people. But also being in this journey, I'm also a person that, and I can relate to you, had a lot of leadership roles. Like I can do this
Mhm.
myself. But then when I jumped, I said, oh, shoot, you
Yeah.
have a diligent schedule. You have to network. You have to build
Mhm.
uh, relationships. So the company was doing all of that for you. Get what I'm, or depending on what role
Yeah.
you're in, and then when you get into
Yep.
that entrepreneurship role, you're like, oh my gosh, like. So what were some of the things that maybe you had to adjust to from working, a 9 to 5 to going into entrepreneurship? Were there any adjustments?
Oh, definitely. Like, you mentioned the paycheck, the security every 2 weeks. That was the huge adjustment. It was just like, oh gosh, like I don't have this thing that I rely on every 2 weeks that I know is coming, and I actually have to be out there and market myself and network to get the business. So it's kind of just putting myself out of my comfort zone, and just being really face forward rather than being in behind the scenes in a process role. But
And that's how
yeah,
we, just a shout out to you. You were very forward with me. Hence, so
yes,
great job. Great
thank
job.
you.
Mhm.
I appreciate it, and so are you. I loved your energy. I was so glad that we connected. But um, but yeah, it was a huge adjustment. You have to get used to not having that security and working a little bit harder. For yourself, basically. And eventually it pays off. You will have your doubts, you will have your moments and your low points where you're like, yo, what did I do? Did I make the right decision? But once you stay diligent and consistent, that hard work really does pay off. It's like a beautiful thing. You're like, oh my God, like I really did this.
Yes, and that reward and that gratification can be everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm laughing because I'm 15 years in, but we have our high moments and we have our low moments and we have our high moments and we have our low.
Yep.
And I'm 15 years in, and sometimes I'm like, did I do the right thing? You know, because it's just like, but I'm just, for me, how can I explain this? I think, and I was watching an Olympian say this, Gabby
Mm.
Thomas, Harvard
Mm-hmm.
graduate, just won the 200 meters. She was like, she
Yes.
quit. She quit, like, a couple of times because she was like, this is too
Mm-hmm.
much. This is too hard.
Mm-hmm.
This is a Harvard graduate that just won the 200 medal. But those are the, what do you call growing pains that you have to
Yes.
go through until you find your rhythm as an
Yep.
entrepreneur. And she had to go through those growing pains until she just was like, you know what? I'm coming back in and I am going to find my rhythm and I'm going to make this work. So I just want people to know sometimes, as an
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneur, it's not always sunny and it's okay. You're not alone,
Yep.
that's why it's important for other entrepreneurs to network with each other so that,
Yes.
we can support each other because 9 to 5
Mm-hmm.
people wouldn't understand what we're, who we
No,
are or
I
what we
always,
do.
yes, I always preach like build a community around like the same environment that you have, surround yourself with people with the like-mindedness and it, it gets lonely being an entrepreneur. You have people that don't understand what you're going through, but when you do have a community and you can vent to people or you can get advice and grow off of each other, it's like a beautiful thing and you just feel seen and heard.
Awesome. Okay, so let's talk about this brow and lash business. So just tell me a little bit about the services you offer. If I was to walk in, what would be, just give me a little bit about your business.
Yeah, so I mainly do lash extensions. I specialize in healthy lash growth. So what that means is I make sure that your lashes are staying healthy and maintaining a good growth cycle while you are still getting lash extensions because there are a lot of horror stories out there. I know there are people are like, "Oh my God, I got lash extensions and I had no lashes left," but my specialty is just making sure that you do keep that healthy lash line and you get to enjoy the luxury of lash extensions. Um, I also do eyebrows. I really love eyebrows. I do eyebrow shaping, and I just started offering ombre brows and microblading. And I do waxing too. So more of armpits and facial waxing.
Okay, and what are ombre brows? I've heard it, but what are they?
So it's like a permanent tattoo. Say like
Oh,
you fill in your eyebrows every day, right? If you would rather not do that, this is a different option that you can have with a permanent tattoo. So you can skip that step in the morning every day.
got you. Yeah, I thought about it. I'm just not ready for it just because, I
Yeah.
don't want anything permanent. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm gonna have to come and get some lash extensions. So how long do your
Yes.
lash extensions usually last?
So, the recommended fill is to come in every 2 to 3 weeks. It really depends on your growth cycle. Some people's lashes grow really fast, some people's lashes grow really slow, but it's just recommended every 2 to 3 weeks. You just come get a touch up so they look as fresh and fluffy as the first time.
Okay, and forgive me, Lee. So
Mhm.
you are almost like growing our lashes, but are you
Um,
putting a fake set on and then putting some type of conditioner on there that grows the lash, the real lash?
Not not really growing the lash. It's just like I'm kind of doing maintenance to your lashes so that they are healthy to
Mhm.
grow at their most potential, if that makes
Got
sense.
you. Now, I would like longer lashes. So,
Hmm. Oh yeah, if you want longer lashes, like I have tips and recommendations on like serums that you can do in uh not procedures, processes, putting on certain oils and stuff just to make sure you maintain that health, but also grow them faster and make them
Yeah.
fuller.
But you do lash extensions though, right?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay,
Hmm.
okay. Okay, awesome. So students, here is Lee's page. You can follow her at Lash on the Beach, which I thought was a really cool name.
Thank you. I'm such a beach girly, so it's like, I'm gonna put something like that ties in with something I really love.
Okay. So let me pull up some more entrepreneurship questions so that we really can dig a little deep because I want to ask questions about clients. Okay. So let's see. How do you how do you how do you separate yourself from the competition? What are some things that you do to separate yourself from the others in the market?
Um, I don't really like to call it competition, we
Mhm.
all have our own thing, but um I think what really separates me is really building a relationship with the client
Mhm.
and get, consulting them. My goal is to know as much as I can about a service. I want to know everything about it. I want to be skilled and mastered at it. So I make it a goal also to educate whoever I am servicing so that they know as much about it too, rather than seeing the front face of it. They know the behind the scenes, so they know what they're getting. They know why the process is the way it is, and it just builds up more of a trust and in meaningful relationship when you show that you really care about not only what you're giving to them but their knowledge on what it is too. So I think that really does separate me from a lot of others. I hear a lot of people come in and they're like, oh, I've never had somebody ask me so many questions about what I like or what I want, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is like the most important thing. So I think
Mhm.
that's something that really separates me from a lot of the others around.
That's awesome, Lee. And just listening
Thank
to you, you
you.
seem like a very caring, attention to detail person.
Yes, yes. I always tell my clients, like, I am here to make sure that I do what you want me to do, but also help you figure out what you want to do. And I do care a lot. Like, this is my passion. I'm so happy I'm doing something that I love. I really care about it a lot. So it's super important for me to provide that caring service.
Yeah. Okay. I'll definitely be coming. So how do you
Yes.
yes, how do you maintain a work-life balance as an entrepreneur?
Woo. So I'm not gonna lie to you, in the beginning, it is really hard to maintain that work-life balance, especially when you're starting out, because you want to make yourself available for like any type of business. You want to be open for anybody that's willing to support you. Um, but you do realize that when you kind of overexhaust yourself, you're like draining yourself mentally and physically, and you realize that you're like, oh my God, am I doing this? Like, am I okay with doing this? So it took me a while, but I am maintaining a work life balance. I stick to the set schedule that I have. I make sure that I put time aside for myself to go on my beach walks, to make sure that I meditate, to make sure that,
Right.
I'm doing things for myself, and honestly just enjoying the fruits of my labor, because how am I gonna love what I do if I'm not enjoying like the product of it?
Absolutely. And it's that play hard, work hard. A lot of
Hmm.
entrepreneurs have that. It's like,
Yes,
I earned this money. I worked hard for it. I am playing hard.
right.
I am
That
going.
little there's like a saying in Miami for like entrepreneurs, and it's like, oh, you guys are fun employed. And I'm like, this is kind of fun.
You said we're what? We're what now?
Fun employed.
Fun employees?
Uh-huh. So not
Okay.
unemployed, but fun
Yes, fun
employed. So like
employees.
we're
I got
employed
you.
but
A
having fun.
mess, a mess, a mess, a mess, a mess, a mess, a mess. Okay. What role has networking played in your entrepreneurship? Okay. One, do you feel networking is important? And we kind of touched on that earlier, but what role has it played in your entrepreneurship journey?
It's definitely important. I always tell everybody, you just in this kind of world nowadays, it's important to put your face out there, and your business out there. A lot of people, they kind of they kind of graduate more towards your business if they know the person behind it. So building not only a relationship with your clients, but your community, attending like community events, or working with nonprofits, um and just providing maybe some volunteer work. You can always find somebody to talk to about your business, whatever you do. There's always somebody out there to talk to. And again, building a network with your fellow entrepreneurs is super important too, to not feel lonely and just have that support in that specific community. So super important. And the role it's played for me, it's definitely gotten me a lot of clientele, to be honest with you. I've worked with my community, and I will give this is where I'll give some kudos to my corporate job. And they taught me the importance of like volunteer work and being a face in your community. So I've kind of taken that skill and put it into my business, and just it's helped so much to not only like get my business out there, but show my personality and show that I do care about people and my business at the same time.
Okay, awesome. So I see some of you are watching. If you have any questions for Lee, just put them in the chat. Any questions for Lee, go ahead and put them in the chat.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, let's see. How do you stay innovative and adapt to the changes that are happening in your industry?
Well, thankfully, social media exists. The internet is easily attainable. I feel like just managing your uh, internet content, or just staying up to date on the internet, Instagram, TikTok. You're always going to see what's in demand and what's popular. But I think what's really important about it is sticking to your kind of niche, or like um, creating something that is special to you and your skill, but also adapting with it, so you kind of keep your creativity and what is new and changing.
I see. So you keep your own essence. I'm thinking about an artist like that, where
Yes,
you just add on to it, even with fashion.
right.
You have your
Exactly.
core style, but then with the
Mhm.
trends, you can layer on different things. Okay.
Yep, exactly.
hmm All right. So who is your favorite entrepreneur and
Oh
why? You
my
got a,
gosh, that's a
yeah, a
crazy
question.
question. Who is my favorite entrepreneur? I don't think I've ever really thought about that question, because I just admire so many people around me. I'm not really that type of person to uh look at like celebrities as inspiration. I really look at my fellow peers around me. And right now, I would say my favorite entrepreneur is a fellow Lash girl. Her name is Noah Lash. And I've literally just seen her grow. I've only known her for a short amount of time. And within that short amount of time, I've seen her grow so much and really just become a very fierce entrepreneur woman, and it's so
I
inspiring.
love it.
So
I love
I'm
that.
just gonna shout her out, because that's who I really look up to every day lately. So yeah.
And what are some of those qualities that you think? I know it's called Noah Lash. I'm just going to say Noah.
Hmm.
What
Yeah.
qualities do you think Noah embodies as a fierce businesswoman that has allowed her to have that growth?
Um, what there's two main things about her. She is very, very welcoming in bringing people together within the entrepreneurial uh, world. So like she's not afraid to introduce us business owners to each other. So she kind of builds this community. And
Mhm.
then another thing about her, she's very, very disciplined and consistent. And honestly, these days it is really, really hard as an entrepreneur, if you're delivering a service, you're being your own accountant, you're being your own content creator. It's just a lot of hats that you're playing. So it's very inspiring to see her be so diligent in that role because I know how hard it is. And honestly, I'm not the best at it. So I just sit there and watch her and I get inspiration. And I'm like, okay, if she's doing it, she's inspiring me. She's telling me every day, like, you got this, girl. And it's important to have that support around you to just empower you. So that's just the it's I'm talking about it now. I'm like, my heart is like so happy because I'm like, oh my God, like I really have like somebody around me that motivates me.
Aw. And Lee, yes, I'm glad that you mentioned that we wear so many hats from
Mm-hmm.
social media manager to accountant
Oh my
to
God, it's
uh
crazy.
to um service provider to marketer. So yes, entrepreneurship requires a lot of discipline, requires scheduling, requires
Mm.
goal setting. So yes, I would agree with you. Some of us have that skill and some of us need to develop
Right.
those skills. And with those skills, you then build, a strong team because they're looking at you and they're following your
Mm-hmm.
lead and all of those different things. So I think as an entrepreneur, it's important that we set the tone for
Yes,
our team members so that they can follow suit and follow in line.
for sure. Yep. You know, your team is a reflection of you, and if you can't do it, how are they supposed to do it?
Awesome. So I would like to thank, we have about 3 more minutes left on this
Mm-hmm.
platform. Lee, I want to thank you so much for sharing.
Of course.
How can the students get in contact with you? I know I just shared your Instagram, so let me pull that back up. But if they want to get in contact with you, can they DM you?
Of
How
course,
does that
you
work?
can follow me on the Instagram page, DM me. You can also, there's an option there to email me at lashonthebeach@gmail.com. And also, there's an option to, message me through telephone as well. So I'm
Okay.
here. I got options.
Okay, wonderful. And we have a youth group and we have an adult group, and we just opened our Miami location this summer because I was in Atlanta for the past
Okay.
12 years and just moved back home to Miami. If anyone was interested, any of the younger girls were interested, or older girls interested in interning or
Oh my gosh,
volunteering
yes.
so that they can just be in your space if they're interested in the brow and lash space. Are you open to that? Is that
Oh
something
my
that's
gosh, yes, of course. Like I've
okay?
definitely taught some girls before and it's definitely one of my passions to spread that knowledge. So, yes, if you guys are interested in interning or learning or being around that environment, just reach out. We can definitely set that up. I would love to participate in something like that.
Okay, wonderful. So Lee, we would love for you to close us out with a pearl of wisdom. You've given us a lot of pearls, but just closing us out with something that maybe is on your heart, something I may have not asked, something you feel maybe you want to leave with the students. How would you like to close us out?
So, just to close out, I think giving some advice on starting a business. I know it's scary. I know it's something that requires you to do a lot of research and learn, but at the end of the day, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna you'll never know how it'll turn out if you never try. And the three things that I would say are very important into starting and launching your business is being consistent,
Mhm.
believing in yourself,
Mm.
and really delivering 100% of yourself. So, those three things, if you tie them together, you will be successful. It just takes time, it takes patience. Just believe in yourself. It'll happen. I promise.
And I back her on that 100%. Everything she said is on point. Thank you so much, Lee. Lee,
Of course. Thank
entrepreneur of
you.
Lash on the Beach, you all. Thank you so much for joining us for Leading Ladies. We'll see you next week for another edition. And Lee, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence, your
Of
time, and your
course.
knowledge.
Thank you so much. I'm here anytime. You guys know how